Hello dear friends, I am glad to welcome you to my channel. Today in this video I'm cooking one of the most delicious, delicate chocolate cakes, the Kinder Penguin cake bar. The cake turns out to be very soft, melting in the mouth without exaggeration, and it is not difficult to prepare in principle. I'm going to make a sponge cake first. 120 grams of flour, 6 grams of baking powder, 30 grams of cocoa powder, 15 grams of cornstarch. I mix it all up, set it aside for now. Four medium-sized eggs weighing about 50 grams, each egg without a shell, a pinch of salt, 8 grams of vanilla sugar. I whisk all this until such a lush foam appears and add 120 grams of sugar there. And I'm whipping it up now for 7 or 8 minutes so that it turns out to be such a lush, airy, whitened mass. Now I add 100 milliliters of milk at room temperature and 60 grams of odorless vegetable oil. I just mix it all. I don't beat anything here for a long time. In portions, very carefully, in a circular motion, I mix the whole dry mixture there. You can take a whisk, like I have a large whisk. You can use a spatula. It's all at your discretion. The shape here I have is 22 centimeters in diameter. The oven is already preheated at 175 degrees Celsius. I will bake on the up-down mode without convection for about 35 for 40 minutes. And while we prepare the chocolate cream, first we prepare the base for the cream. I send 350 milliliters of milk and bring it to a boil, 150 grams of sugar, 35 grams of cornstarch, and 8 grams of vanilla sugar. I am now mixing until smooth. 3 eggs at room temperature, weighing about 50 grams of medium size, and 150 milliliters of milk. I mix all this until smooth, and mix it all now with a dry mixture. A homogeneous mixture should turn out, and I'm going to the stove now, and I'm going to boil it all until it boils. Stirring constantly in the center of the ladle, I add all the starch base to the hot milk, and now, with continuous stirring over moderate heat in a saucepan with a thick bottom, I bring the whole mixture to a boil. When the first bubbles like these come, I boil for about another 20 to 30 seconds and immediately remove from the heat. Now I add 100 grams of dark chocolate, not milk chocolate, but dark chocolate. You can add milk, but the taste will not be so bright in the cream then. Chocolate 50-60% cocoa here. Mixed it all very well until smooth. I pour it now into the container where the cream will cool down to room temperature, not to a cold state, but to room temperature. Covering it with cling film, I'm removing it now. So, I have already baked a biscuit. I leave it to cool completely now to room temperature. The wand comes out of it dry and clean. As soon as it has cooled down, it is immediately ready to work. It can be cut right away. This biscuit is very convenient. This is a chocolate chiffon sponge cake. I divide eggs into larger shapes, but here I need such a small shape, a low cake. I do not divide eggs into yolks and whites. I am now cutting into 4 thin cakes, that is, so that these cakes, like in the Kinder Penguin bar, there will be only one chocolate layer, so that they do not particularly clog the taste of the cake itself. And these cakes, they just sort of complement the taste of the cake. For impregnation, I take 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder for baking cocoa powder, and 250 milliliters of milk, and bring it all to a boil now. Now I filter the boiled mixture through a sieve and leave it all to cool down at least to room temperature. You can cool it down to a cold state. "250 grams of softened butter. I'm whipping now for about 3 minutes until fluffy. I add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder for baking. I mix it all carefully, beat it up for a short time, so that just the masses come together, and I add about 2 tablespoons of the whole custard base to this mass and just work it out with a mixer, also for a short time. We added the whole custard base and just work through it again with a mixer. The cream is ready. This is a cream for filling. This cream is not for decoration. I say right away. In the refrigerator, it will stabilize and be more stable. There are 400 milliliters of very cold cream for whipping, with a fat content of at least 30%. I add there 16 grams of thickener for cream, 30 grams of powdered sugar, and 16 grams of vanilla sugar, or vanilla extract can be taken, because the bar itself of course contains Kinder Penguin's cream. In case you don't have a thickener for cream, you can take 250 milliliters of cream and 150 grams of mascarpone cheese, and then the cream will hold. The cream is now divided into 3 equal parts of cream. I mean cream. Do not confuse this bar with a milk slice bar. This is a completely different recipe. It tastes completely different. And now I divide the chocolate cream into 4 equal parts. The impregnation has cooled down and I'm starting to soak the cake. I spread 1/4 of the cream on each cake of chocolate cream. It's more convenient for me to do it from a pastry bag. To save confectionery bags, you can just take a package for freezing food for this. When we collect the filling, if someone does it unprofessionally for a home tea party who works, then you can just use dense packages. I also spread the cream from the pastry bag. It is more difficult with cream here because they are with a thickener here. They have a looser structure, and therefore, it is better, of course, not to apply them from a pastry bag, in any case with a spatula, not with a spoon, just so that these layers can then be traced in the cake beautifully. All this is very carefully leveled now with a spatula, and so I collect each cake. It is better to collect this cake in a ring right away. I'm just not putting it in the ring here in order to show you clearly in the video, but when you collect this cake for yourself, it's better to put it in the ring. It will be more stable for you right away. The cakes here are thin. They are very delicate. They are literally so weightless. But this is exactly the idea in this cake. You can also bake this cake in a shape with a diameter of 20 centimeters. It's not scary. This is where I've already put in the ring. I also use an acetate film. Who does not have an acetate film? You can use just stationary dense folders for this. I impregnate each cake, and the last 4th part of the chocolate cream I put on the topmost cake. Now I put this cake in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. It is better, of course, to clean immediately at night so that it stabilizes completely, and then I will cover it with chocolate glaze. 80 milliliters of cream, 30% of the fat content I brought to a boil, and in hot cream I dissolve 100 grams of milk chocolate, but I have chocolate with a lot of cocoa. Here you can take bitter chocolate in principle, but not above 50% cocoa. Otherwise the glaze will differ from the taste of the cake. And I pour the icing on the cold cake. I melted 20 grams of white chocolate here. You can melt it in a water bath, you can in a microwave, and I plant these simple droplets here. This is at your request. It is not necessary to do it here, just to decorate a homemade cake. I've had a little bit of it for a long time, and the white chocolate has already frozen, so it's a little difficult to apply it like that. I put it in the refrigerator for half an hour. I covered it with chocolate chips here. It's all up to you. You can decorate it with any cream. You can cover it with ganache. The cake is very soft. A cake that is really so soaked. Very chocolate, very creamy. But it is not an adult cake. That is, children like it very much. And I hope the video was useful and informative. Subscribe to my channel, like it, write comments. I wish everyone great success and see you in new videos.